breaking news here on Texans Today. Hey everybody, I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Welcome in to Texans Today. And the Texans making a massive move along the offensive line. Ever since the news around Scruggs being out for 2 to 3 weeks, everybody was wondering, what are the Texans going to do up front? Who's going to play left guard? What are they going to do? Well, now we have an answer. Titus Howard, the Texans starting right tackle, he's going to be moved to the guard position. And I want to know from the jump, how do you feel? Because I know Texans fans are really split. We've seen Titus Howard play at guard before. I'll get into more of that in a moment. But I want to know from you at home, do you like the move of moving Titus Howard from right tackle to left guard? Give me yes, give me no. Let me know down in the comment section. While you're down there, go hit that sub button. We just passed 22,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody out there who has subbed already for free Texans content. Reminder, I'll be going live tomorrow for Texans, Dolphins. Be there or be square. So, like I said, Titus Howard, he's played 21 games in his career at left guard. And last season, while he was playing left guard, because remember, he was injured to start the year, George Fant was playing decent for us at right tackle. Titus Howard came back and played in that left guard spot before he got injured once again. His PFF numbers not pretty last year at the left guard spot. 46.8 overall PFF grade, a 49.6 run blocking grade, and a 38.9 pass blocking grade. That's disgusting. In 2021, he also played 11 games at left guard, was below average, and we all know the reason why the Texans paid Titus Howard is because of his play at right tackle, not at left guard. Because the following season, 2022, he played primarily at right tackle and was much better, and that's why he got that money going into last season. And we all know we want Titus Howard to play the left or the right tackle spot. That's his best position. That's where he's best at. But with the Texans injury list and what they have going on right now, can you afford to keep him at right tackle? Because I think you need to have the best 5 guys out there. And even though he's a better right tackle than he is a guard, is he the best guard that you have right now other than everybody else on your roster who's going to fill in that left guard spot? We've talked about a bunch of guys who could possibly move there, but I mean, obviously Titus Howard I think is better than all of those other fill-ins for Scruggs. I think this is a move of you got to get the best 5 out there. And in saying that, the best 5 out there, I think it's more of not is Titus Howard better than the other left guards that are there, you know, like Kenyon Green, Zach Thomas, Kendrick Green. I think the real question is rookie Blake Fisher better than those? Because I said getting the best 5 out there, he's going to be stepping in at right tackle. I'll talk more about Fisher in just a moment and those other guys, but got to show some love to our sponsor out there in Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Over 5 million active members. Get started today. Make your holidays just a little bit better, a little bit brighter over on Prize Picks. You can win up to 200 times your money right now. The holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during what they're calling Picksmas. And I celebrate Hanukkah, but I also celebrate Picksmas over on Prize Picks. So go get started over there today. They are also giving away 2 free picks in the month of December. So really good deals over there on Prize Picks. Download the app, use code CLNS, get $50 instantly when you play $5. Don't need to win. $50 instantly when you play $5. Just use that code CLNS over on Prize Picks. Run your game. So, as we were talking before, Blake Fisher, 2nd round pick out of Notre Dame. Really, this is going to be his 2nd career start in the NFL. Has gone into the game and spurts here and there. His first start was up against Buffalo in week 5, and he was okay. He was very okay. He let a sack. He let 5 pressures. Texans ended up winning that game, so that's always a plus. But Blake Fisher getting his 2nd start, and I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. And I had mentioned this a ton before, the move of putting Blake Fisher in and Titus Howard at left guard. And I know a lot of people were upset with, you can't move Titus Howard off of the tackle spot. But you kind of drafted Blake Fisher for that, to be a predecessor for either the right tackle or left tackle spot. But in all reality, right tackle, that's where Blake Fisher played his last 2 years at Notre Dame. That's where he was more comfortable at that right tackle spot. Even though he is a swing tackle, he played a little bit at left tackle when needed as well. You drafted him for a reason. You drafted him in the second round for a reason. He is going to be a guy who needs to start producing for this team, and that's what this move is saying. Nick Caserio, DeMeco Ryans is saying, hey, we drafted you in the second round for a reason. We need you to step up and help this team out. We've seen the rookies, really flash for this team. We've been leaning on rookies all season. Kamari Lassiter at the corner spot. That's a rookie, and he is one of the most vital parts of this defense right now. He is really good for this team. Kalen Bullock as well, another rookie who is showing out for this team. So why not add another rookie into that mix in Blake Fisher and say, hey, we need you to step up. We need you. The pushback on it where I am a little bit, I'm cautiously optimistic about Blake Fisher is that he is still a raw prospect. Coming out of the draft, here at Chat Sports, our draft guru, Tom Downey, had him as the 66th ranked prospect, a third-round pick. And because, he was good at Notre Dame, but it was known that when he was coming out, that he was still a raw prospect and needed to get molded. The kid's still 21 years old. He still has a lot of room to grow, a lot of, time to get better in the NFL. He's so young. He's just legally allowed to drink this year, so he's still got a long way ahead of him. And I think the Texans, in a perfect scenario, thought this is a guy who 21 years old can sit behind Tunsil and Howard, and in 2 or 3 years down the road he can be a starter for us and we can really train him in our system, and he can be kind of like the swing tackle and just be that guy waiting in the wings at tackle. Now plans are changing. We need him to kind of start a little bit sooner, and I really hope that he takes this opportunity and runs with it, because I'm really excited to see Blake Fisher out there. You spend a second-round pick on offensive line, and I had said it, preseason, before the season even started, going into the draft last year, the Texans needed O-line help. The Texans needed some offensive line help. And people laughed at me. People said, look how much we've invested on the offensive line, First-round pick in Titus Howard. We traded for Shaq Mason and traded for Laremy Tunsil, a king's ransom for him. We drafted Kenyon Green in the first round. We drafted Scruggs in the second round. Look at all this capital. But at the same time, there was still a lot of unprovenness coming into this year for the offensive line for the Houston Texans team. So I thought adding another guy in the draft last year was smart by Nick Caserio, and it looks like that's going to start paying off here. I also will say this next year in the draft, if it isn't evident enough for everybody already, I don't care how much we've spent on the offensive line to this point. You need to draft multiple guys at O-line in this year's draft. You need to replenish that system. You need new guys in there, because you can only have so much of a rope for certain guys. And, Kenyon Green, I've heard nothing but good things about him, his work, his mentality, everything going into the game. But at the bottom line, it's a, make or break business. You either win or you lose. And if you're not winning with certain guys, you need to look at other options. And that other option for the Texans, you got to keep on replenishing the offensive line. The best teams in the NFL, in the NFC, look, the two best teams, the Lions and the Eagles, what are they winning with right now? It's offensive line. So you need those guys to step up. I am really interested to see this move, and whether or not, the question was going into this week with Scruggs being out, was it going to be Kenyon Green, Zach Thomas, or Kendrick Green at the offensive line or at that left guard spot? Turns out none of those guys impressed enough. None of those guys. I think they were hoping that Zach Thomas or Kenyon Green or Kendrick Green, they could really feel comfortable with those guys. But at the end of the day, it turns out that Blake Fisher, which this is probably a good sign for Texans fans, because that means your second round pick is, coming on nicely, and they feel more comfortable in him than they do in these other backups. So hopefully that's a good sign for the Texans and for years to come, because like I said, Blake Fisher, he's only 21 years old, a rookie. Can he step up for this Texans team is going to be a big part, whether the Texans win or lose up against Miami this Sunday, which is this Sunday. I say this Sunday like it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Dolphins, Texans, and I'll be live for that game. Make sure you're here an hour before kickoff. My question to you is, before I let you go, if you made it to the end of the video, I want to know down in the comment section, and I'll be looking at the comments. I want to get some, get some chatter between us Texans fans down there. Does this change your score prediction for Texans Dolphins? Does this change your thought process for this game? Because for me, I think this might be a little bit better than what I expected. I mean, if it was Kenyon Green at left guard, I was going to be very worried. And don't get me wrong, Titus Howard at left guard isn't amazing for me. I'm not saying Titus Howard's going to be an amazing guard for this team. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he steps up. But Kenyon Green had me really worried going in at left guard. Even Zach Thomas, he's unproven. And the tape that I saw him up against the Texans, he was getting worked at the tackle spot. So I was a little worried with either of those guys stepping in. With Titus Howard going to left guard, Blake Fisher to right tackle, I'm cautiously optimistic about this team moving forward. I hope you are too. Make sure, like I said, you hit that subscribe button. I'll be live tomorrow for Texans Dolphins, so don't miss a thing. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications to the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube.